Every Wednesday, we have our mastermind meeting. Gold members, we have it on Tuesday. Wednesdays are all open to everybody. But tonight we have one of my friends. I've been knowing him for a long time. We got Mr. Eric Brown. Now, Eric came a long way. He owned a school for years, retired from the school business, then opened an upscale men's salon. He got financial aid, the Pell Grants, the unsub student loans, made a whole lot of money. They was wiring a lot of money to his account. But I want y'all to hear Eric's story because a lot of y'all aspire to do what he's already done. He's been there, done that, got the t-shirt. He had the schools for a long time. A lot of us know that the schools could be like an adult daycare center too, but you get paid a lot for babysitting these adults. He's been through all areas from owning shops to schools, real estate, taking care of his family, taking the big trips to Las Vegas, buying the cars, the houses, all of that. Resides from out of St. Louis, Missouri. So we got some people from out of St. Louis on here tonight too. I know we got Jane Hilton, we got Charles Hilton. They own Divas Beauty School, the cosmetology school in St. Louis. So Eric, first, start off from the beginning.
Before I start, thanks for inviting me to do this. It's cool. As a kid, like most people in this industry, I learned how to cut hair. I grew up poor. My family couldn't afford to send me to the barber shop. One day I just said, I grabbed the clipper set and I said, there ain't no way humanly possible I can do it worse than they did. So that's how I ended up cutting hair. It was something magical about it, I did screw my hair up, but it was something magical about it where I just wanted to learn more and more and more. And I did it for years. But the thing about it was that I didn't know a successful barber. I didn't know a barber that was living the kind of life that I wanted to live. So I pursued other things and come back full circle. My sister was in beauty school and she got out doing well. And, I was working, doing what I thought I wanted to do, but I wasn't happy. I was talking to her and she was like, cut hair, why don't you go to barber school? And I went to barber school. I opened up a shop. Her and I worked together for years. And although I loved it, I still cut hair sometimes now. I really enjoy it. But it was that fork in the road for me where although I enjoyed cutting hair, I was passionate about it. I'm an entrepreneur in the core of my heart. And that was like a dead end for me. I just didn't see standing behind the chair being my future. So this older lady, she come in, her name was Sarah Hale. She said, I want to talk to you about something, young man. She owned a beauty school in this little town called Charleston, Missouri. And she said, you ever thought about doing a barber school? I said, no. And she was like, we really need a barber school down here, and I got space in my school where, we can open up a school. I just need a barber to instruct. And I was like, huh. And we talked about it for a while. And she said, no. But she said, I tell you what, I will support you. She was like, I'm leaving the scene. I ain't coming on the scene. I'll support you. I help you however you want it, I just feel it's something that needs to be done. So I ended up opening the school there in Cape. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was going to open this great school and folks was going to start pouring in and giving me their money and, asking me to teach them everything that I knew. And no, that didn't happen. It's a miracle I was open 6 months after I opened the school. I mean, I started out with 6 students. 6 months in, I was down to 2. And they weren't half paying their tuition all the time. But again, like I said, it was something magical about this. It wasn't just about the money for me. I wanted to also be a part of something that was making a difference in my community. I wanted to, I knew what being a barber did for me, so I wanted to do that for other people. So my mindset was, I need graduates. So I'll eat it. They ain't paying their tuition on time or whatever, I'll eat it as long as I can get them to graduate. If I can say I have graduates, I got something to build on. If people can see them working in a shop making money, I got something to build on. So we got through it, but it was still a struggle, and I just got to thinking about, what potentially be next. What can I do? Because I'm from a small, rural area in Southeast Missouri. I remember having a conversation with Leonard Hall, who owned Leonard's Barber College. And he was like, what I did, these little cats got all this money. I went to them. I said, man, look, y'all give me $1,500. I'll let you start school. He was like, I started up 20 people. They gave me an influx of cash, to start my school. So I went trying to do that and still came up short. I remembered meeting this guy at a hair show down in Atlanta a couple of years prior. He was selling these videos on how to do a 5-minute fade. And he said he also owned a school in Nashville. And I went and got the video, and his contact information was on there. His name was Chin Nuwani. So I called him up and told him who I was and what I was doing. And this guy literally changed my life. Seriously. I mean, I've told this story a million times over the years. I had a conversation with him that changed the trajectory of my life. He said, where do you want to be? And he started telling me about himself. He said, I have a FedEx driver bring me an envelope every week, $40,000 worth of checks in. And I was like, you said a week. You mean like a month? He said, no, a week. I was like, wow. At that point, Chin was my hero, and I just wanted to, is it possible, what can I do? And he spelled the whole thing out for me, because I had heard all the negative talk. Oh, you don't want to get your school accredited. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. And he said, who are these people that's telling you this? And he said, are they where you want to be in life? And I said, no, I want to be where you live. And he started talking to me, mentoring me, providing guidance and helping me understand things and providing encouragement. That whole accreditation process is designed to be intimidating. It's not intimidating by accident. They want it to be intimidating. And I remember him saying, oh, you can do this. Smart guy. I know you can do this. And I went through the process. There's things I didn't understand. Able to call them up, help me with it. They said, I need this. I don't even know what this is. You're like, what's your email address? He emailed me the form or the document that I need. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, just take this document and, customize it to your school. Man, they said, I need financials. I didn't have no financials, I need some financials. They said, now I got to have 2 years worth of financials and I got to have a CPA do this and that and the third. And he was like, here, I got a guy for you. Send me the name of an accountant, a CPA. Call the guy out, do everything. So, like I said, I was able to get my school accredited through guidance and mentoring that he was providing me. And from there, it was off to the races. It was never a easy journey. There's a lot of bumps in the road. After I got accredited and started receiving federal student aid, my tuition was $4,900. And I was like getting this financial aid, and these students taking these loans out. And I was like, it was exhausting because they were taking out these loans because they knew they can get this money back, So they were getting more money going to school than I was getting for them being in school because I was only charging $4,950 tuition. So, that was that first mistake, and I remember talking to Stanley Bovell. He used to be the president of the Barber board here in Missouri. He owned a couple of schools down in Springfield. And he was like, I was telling him, I was like, man, I got all these problems, these students. And he was like, well, what do you charge for tuition? And I told him, and he said, well, that's your problem, son. You at the bottom of the food chain. So I was like, wow, So I was like, okay. I go back and I talk to Chin. I'm like, Chin, what should I be charging? I don't know, And Chin told me what he was getting for tuition. I had to sit down. I was like, what? I was like, how many students you got? But it was always a very electrifying journey. I started out with a small barber school, and within a 3-year time period after I got accredited, I owned a school that offered a barber and cosmetology program. I owned another school that offered a cosmetology only program, and I had the barber school that I put here in St. Louis in 2011. I was always real excited about the school in St. Louis because I always wanted to perform on what I could call the big stage, where I could finally perform on Chen's level. I couldn't really do that in Southeast Missouri. Although I had, the two schools and I was doing well, I couldn't really do it, on that level. And a lot of people would never believe or comprehend. I mean, I was doing just shy of $1 million a year off of a 1,000-hour barber program, here in St. Louis. 3 schools combined, doing, anywhere, depending on the year. It would range anywhere from $1.6 to $2 million a year, that I would, do in revenue. So here I am, this kid, I ain't got a college education, grew up poor, as a kid with a dream and some passion and a little dedication and some guidance. And I took nothing, literally nothing. I never had a business partner. I never had a business loan. I never had an investor. And I took literally nothing and turned it into a business that was making $2 million a year. It's a fulfilling journey. It's an ever-evolving journey. But the thing about it, as things are changing, as things are evolving, you want to see what's on the other side of it. So you keep pushing yourself. You keep pushing yourself. Then as the next challenge come up, the next thing that you have to deal with come up, whether it's a visit from NACIS, whether it's a audit from the Department of Education. There's no more of a rewarding feeling than after your audit and they say, okay, you met your composite score. That's all you want to hear because, you meet that composite score, you get to keep getting your money. And being able to help people do things, at first, I've always, from the time I was a barber, I've always had this mindset. You take care of your community will take care of you. You support your community, they'll support you back. And I carried that mindset over into the school as well. And whatever contributions or whatever, somebody may say, hey, we got this going on. Can you do such and such and such? In the back of your mind, you might be thinking, okay, well, it's just whatever. So you writing little checks here and there for people that may not be a big deal to you, but to them, it's everything. When you take a kid in that everybody else will turn their back on, because he's got a funny and he's got this going on and that going on. You see something in a person and you say, you know what, I'm going to give you a chance. You let them enroll in your school and give them an opportunity to do something with their life. And they actually do it. There's no greater reward than that. I can talk about money. I can talk about cars. I can talk about the trips. My wife and I, we love to travel. Purchases, if you want it, you see it, you want it, you just buy it. You don't have no internal thoughts about, can I afford this or, well, this is outside of my budget. Maybe, no, you don't have thoughts. If you want it, you just go buy it. It's that simple. At the end of the day, like I said, the school is, I think, a very worthwhile journey for somebody that's serious about it. Instant thing, it ain't a get-rich-quick scheme. You're going to put a lot of work in. But when that work pay off, it's going to pay off well. But you got to put that work in first. And if your passion is in people, you're going to have an opportunity to help people in ways that other people can't and haven't or won't. I can point all over this state at people that's come through my school that couldn't get a job sacking groceries at Schnucks because of their felony record, but now they're business owners, doing very well in life. That's, to me, worth more than the money. At the end of the day, you have the guru at your fingertips here as far as the knowledge, and if he don't know it, he can put you in touch with somebody to do. So I think you got to definitely going about it the right way, consulting with someone as knowledgeable like he is. Just to be honest, I didn't know what I was doing when I first opened up my school. I had no clue. I always joke around and say when I opened my school, it was the first day for everybody, for my students and me. I had never even worked in a school prior to opening one. So, it was first day for everybody, when I opened up my doors, so that's about it. I did it for, I was a school owner for 20 years. Yeah. 20 years, almost half my life. I've been a school owner. It got to the point where those challenges I was talking about, they were not there as frequently anymore,
Can you tell them about when you first started receiving financial aid? When you started receiving financial aid, were they wiring the money to the bank accounts then? Were you getting the wires The wire transfers?
The pails were wired. The loans were still coming
With their checks. Can you tell them about that? Because going from not receiving a lot of money to getting that, can you tell them how that felt and what you was doing?
Yeah, I remember I ended up using this financial aid servicer in South Carolina, Weber and Associates. I don't know if they're still around or not, but they got me set up, and I had never seen that kind of money in my life. I enrolled when I first got Pell. It was interesting that it timed out where it was late summer, right? So I'm enrolling for my summer and fall classes. I enrolled, I think, 10 students in August and another like 10 students in September. So I've gone from having like 8 students to 28 students. And, you know, those 20 students, like back then, you know, you were only yielding, I think, $2,200 for the first half of the Pell. You weren't getting that much Pell back then. But for those 20 students, that was 40 grand, you know? Just like that, I got 40 grand. So I'm like, man, and you get it so fast. You sign these little papers, you overnight them to the servicer. They take a week to process it. Boom, money in your bank. I was like, wow, that was nothing. That's the Pell. Those loans, Lord. When that loan money came through, oh my God, it was crazy. Yeah, it was because, so you're getting half the Pell, half the sub, half the unsub. So, yeah, so you're getting $4,700 per student on the loan, and then you get another $2 grand on the Pell. So, yeah, back then you're getting $6,000 right off the bat. You have to wait 30 days before you got the loan money, but still within 30 days of the student starting, you're getting over $6,000.
Times 20 students that you had.
Yeah, times 20. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I went from 0 to 60 real quick. You know, it was pretty mind-boggling, you know, the money that I was seeing, you know, and all I had to do was enroll a student. Like you said, unfortunately, sometimes it was like babysitting, but, you know, it paid well to babysit sometimes, I guess. I don't know.
What would you tell a student, Eric? When I say a student, somebody that's working in the salon, they're thinking about opening a school, what would you tell them? They got a dream of opening a school. Any advice or anything that you would tell them? Or they've been looking at the program and watching me, scratching their head, just wondering?
I would say put one foot in front of the other and start walking in the direction that you want to go. Or as I say, lean into it. It ain't just going to happen. It's going to happen by you taking one step at a time. I've had a lot of guys approach me over the years. Hey, Mr. Brown, how do you go about opening up a school? And to see how serious they were, I would always tell them the same thing. Everything you need to know is in the state law book. If they ain't going to take the time to read that state law book, don't waste my time. I mean, read that law book and then come back and ask me whatever you need to know. I mean, that was the conversation stopper right there. In a lot of cases, never had a conversation with a lot of. But do your due diligence, which it seems like apparently you're already doing because you're here. You know, map out the journey, because that's what it is. Map out that journey from where you are now to where you're going to be, what it's going to take for you to open up your school, and all the steps along the way.
They want to know what the most challenging part was. Was it getting open, staying open when you first started? That's what they want to know. What was the most challenging part?
I always tell people opening my school was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. And then I figured out that was the easy part. I had to keep it open. You know, like with any other business, your main issue is going to be working capital. You know, having a plan in place for working capital is going to be very instrumental, you know, because without money, you can't make this happen. And I guarantee you, you're going to need more money than what you think you're going to need to do this. So having a plan in place so that you have the capital there. The other thing is I would have had 10 schools, to be perfectly honest with you. There was nothing stopping me. I would have had 10 schools. The other biggest challenge that you're going to run into is having the right people on your team. Finding the right people is always going to be a challenge. I remember a lady asking me that one time. She was like, well, why don't you put a school on the east side? And I remember telling her that would be one of my biggest challenges. And she was like, I find that hard to believe. And I said, it's the truth. My problem isn't money, having the resources to open a school. My problem would be having the ability to assemble a team of people that I could trust to run my school the way I want it done.
Somebody asked, how many students did you have when you started, and how did you do your enrollment?
When I started, I think I had 6 students, and that quickly dwindled down. I always enrolled monthly. My thing was I started a new class the first Tuesday of each month.
Okay, somebody asked, how was the training for accreditation? I guess when you went to the workshops.
It's a lot of information, but I'll tell you this, though. Build those relationships with those people at their workshop, because you're going to have the people up on the platform telling you all this stuff, and you're just going to be sitting there like, wow. But build those relationships. When you have those breaks in between, and lunch break and evening meals and all that, you're going to be there with these people anyway. Sit down and have conversations with these other school owners. Build those relationships. That's what's going to help you, when it comes to that. Call Chin, like, hey, they talking about, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what they talking about. He break it down for you and explain it. They're going to throw a ton of information at you. So don't feel bad if half of it don't stick,
Shanae said, what did you do, Eric, personally or mentally to get the confidence to take that leap of faith to open your school? And what was your mindset?
I remember talking to someone about it, and they said something that triggered me. I said, yeah, I'm thinking about doing the school thing. I want to do this school thing. And they said, are you thinking about it, or I'm going to do it, And from that point forward, my mindset was, I'm opening a school. This is what I'm doing. I went and started looking for a building. I went and started search on the curriculum, and, and it's scary, because you've never done it before. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. You could fall flat on your face. You don't know. You probably will. I did. You just get up, keep moving till you get it right.
If you had not opened that school, looking back and all the money you made and just things, how long you been a barber, Eric?
Since 96.
What are all your friends doing that did not open a school? There were barbers, hairstylists, nail techs, estheticians, because you've been licensed for about 25 years, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
But you decided to open a school. What are they doing? How are their lives now?
A lot of people that I used to idolize back in the late 90s in the hair game, to be honest, a lot of them are still behind the chair, just being honest. I'm not knocking anybody. Some people are content working behind the chair. I wasn't one of those people. And because I did something different, I got to experience a different life than they did. As they say, money don't buy happiness by no means. But money buy nice homes, nice cars, and pay for nice vacations, and put your kids in nice schools, and do a lot of things that you want to do with your life that you can't necessarily do. I was single when I opened up school. I was a one school owner when I first started. She was cool at first, because I remember going to her when I opened up the second school. Actually, we started dating when I opened my first cosmetology school. That's when we first started dating. We was talking like, what do you want to do? Blah, blah, blah. She was talking like she was going to open up her school. I was like, oh, okay. But as things progressed, I was like, man, I already got this thing in motion, but I need a cosmetology educator, somebody I can trust. And she was like, okay, so what are you saying? I'm saying I need you to go get your instructor's license so you can help me run this cosmetology program. So she did. And I don't think she had any clue where it was going or whatever, but used to play my cards real close to my chest, so she never, from the financial part, she didn't really know everything, But when she did, boy, yeah. Yeah, she started hanging out at the Louis Vuitton store. But, let's say that in fun. We're both, really humble people, a lot like myself. She ain't money motivated person.
What did they say to you when you opened that school?
It was kind of a mixed situation. My closest peers were very congratulatory. They were very supportive. They were very happy for me. The naysayers, the haters, as they say, he called himself opening up a school. How he opened the school? He ain't been a barber for 5 years. I heard it all, Ain't nobody ever graduated from his school. I just opened up. What are you talking about? So it go from he called himself trying to open up a school to after it's open, he got his little school there. But ain't nobody graduated. But you just got to block that stuff out of your mind. I had this one young lady, like I said, 6 months in, it was bad, and people were talking. I knew it. This young lady, I guess she called herself giving me some consolation or whatever. She was like, "So Eric, how's it going?" I was like, "It's going fine. It's cool." She was like, "Well," so I had my setup was a 10-chair school. She looked around. She said, "Well, if all else fails, Eric, you can always turn this into a 10-chair barbershop." And I looked at her and I said, "This will never be a 10-chair barbershop." And I never spoke to her again. Because she saw me failing. You ain't my friend. You a false confidant. You gonna say here, you saw me failing, So I opened a school and my school is gonna work.
How did it feel when you proved them wrong?
It felt gratifying, but at the end of the day, you never truly prove. You can't go down that rabbit hole with people. They're always going to be nipping at your heels, chunking rocks at you. You ain't never, like I said, I had an open checkbook with the Department of, he's stealing folks' money. They love saying. I'm like, I told a student one time, I said, "I don't need to steal nobody's money. If I need some money, I just go and roll a student. What I got to steal somebody's money for?" I got a blank checkbook from the Department of Education. I can make as much money as I want. What I need to steal some money for? But you're always going to have that,
Hey, Eric, my name is Dion. It is my goal to open a school in South City, and I'm glad I got a chance to hear you talk about the challenges and successes of your journey. Thank you, and I hope to meet you in person one day. How did you come up with the money to initially open your school?
Standing behind the chair, cutting hair.
How important do you feel it is to have a mentor if they're going to open a school and go through that process?
I think it's very important because there's going to be a lot of things where you're going to get discouraged. It ain't always going to be a walk in the park, and you're going to get discouraged. And you need to be able, one of the most difficult things as a school owner is not having somebody to talk to, because the average person ain't going to have a clue what you're going through. They're not going to understand anything you're dealing with. So having a mentor that know and have gone through what you're dealing with, I'll be honest, there were days where you probably could have bought my school for a dime. I'm just saying, hold on. I'm done with this. I don't want to do it no more. But having that person that you can talk to just kind of help level you out, smooth you out, so that you can get back up the next day and do it again.
What if they try to do everything themselves and don't get no mentor? They just try to go through NACA, so just do everything themselves. What do you think is going to happen?
I've often wondered, because I get these newsletters from NACA every month. And I would see schools that went through the accreditation process and was denied. And I'm like, how do you get denied accreditation? How could you possibly, and they'll put the reason why they didn't do it. You didn't have the financials, or you didn't have a SAP policy, or you didn't this, or how could you possibly have not had this? Especially considering the fact that NACA, if you don't have it, they'll tell you don't have it and give you an opportunity to produce it, and you still messed up. So to me, that tell me that that person went through this thing by themselves and they didn't have a clue what they were doing. You need some type of guidance, to navigate you through this thing. I mean, I knew absolutely nothing about, just the fundamentals of school. And like I said, I didn't know that guy from Adam. I didn't know Chin. Chin, like I said, when we first started talking, it just changed the trajectory of my life,
Anything you want to leave them with, Eric? Because we got a lot of people on here that just open schools. We got some thinking about opening a school. We got some thinking about joining my program. We got a lot that are working in the shops. What would you like to leave them with?
Live your life without regrets. If you really think this school thing is the direction you want to go in life, do it. And don't give up on it. You also have to be patient and work for the results that you want to happen.
Well, Eric, I thank you for coming on, sharing with the group, because I know you've inspired a lot of them. And I always like to bring people on who've been there, then they ain't got the t-shirt, because a lot of times they watch on social media and a lot of us don't believe. So I'm just glad that you came on, because there's some people that are gonna open their school because of you. And I thank you.
Yes, thank you. As I always said, man, you've definitely been a blessing to me, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for asking me to come on.
All right, thanks, Eric.